logs in the hot sun. Gotta clear them all out till there ain't none. Work that tiger cat to death till the job's done and we do it all again. Through the sand beds and the muddy waters, pushes old Ken wearing just a little bit harder. Got my 990 pulling to make an honest dollar. It's Goodson's all terrain. Goodson's all terrain. Goodson's all terrain.
I'd rather be a fox with the hunters on his trail. I'd rather be an old dog left astray. I'd rather have no one to come home to than to live in love hurting day after day. I'd rather be a lonesome pine way out on the ridge, all alone blowing in the wind and rain. I'd rather be a homeless man sleeping underneath the railroad bridge than to love a woman who only brings you pain. To the land, with a gentle hand he tends the fertile ground, and in the golden fields at harvest time I offered you my heart but you turned me down. I'd rather be a lonesome pine way out on the ridge, all alone blowing in the wind and rain. I'd rather be a homeless man sleeping underneath the railroad bridge than to love a woman who only brings you pain. Sleeping underneath the railroad bridge than to love a woman who only brings you pain.
For a while there, it looked like the guys were starting to get back into the swing of things, and with just a few days between Christmas, they are forced off the job again by rain and high water. And to compound the problem, the dam down in Jordan Lake has opened up again, making the service roads impassable and moving timber nearly impossible.
If it ain't one thing, it's another all the time out here.
Say YouTube, this is Daniel. We're over here on the Anderson track. We were starting to do pretty good as far as moving some wood out. The rain, we did miss a couple of weeks because it was too wet to work. And then we started back, and now you can see back here behind me the water's coming across the road pretty strong. I guess up in the western part of the state, they must have turned the water loose down there, and of course everything goes downhill. And it's right here at Christmas time now, so I guess we'll keep trying to haul some wood. But y'all stay tuned. Yeah.
Is it up or down?
About the same as it was yesterday. Ain't much change.
This morning, David Robertson from Corbett Timber arrives to inspect the situation.
Well, I see Bobby has put some reflector stakes out there that show where the road bed is, keep everybody on the road. The road's currently flooded. It's only about 6 inches to a foot deep, so we're still going. Keep getting rains upstream. It's not so much here, but upriver in the Piedmont, keeping the river at the full bore. So we could use a little dry weather, a little break. Here we are trying to make part of a week right here, Christmas holiday week, and it's not working out too good. Just having to drive through that water. Anyway, we're still going. That's Bobby. All terrain all the time.
A few days later, the water recedes just enough to get back out on the job site, but not without peril.
And I know the tree that actually the arm broke on wasn't the one that done it, because it was just a small ash tree, but it twisted the whole arm around and broke it up so bad that it would be hard to fix. It would probably cost as much money to fix it as it did to replace it. So we had to take the head off to get that replaced, and there's a slewing ring in that head that allows it to turn 360. Well, they call it 280, but it'll go around 4 times before it starts ripping hoses off. But and that machine's only got like 5,000 hours on it, maybe 4,500, 5,000. I'm gonna have to buy a new arm, because this arm here it's done. It's just twisted.
Here at the end of the 7-mile road, we're about 10 miles off the main highway. So 90% of the repairs are done here on site.
You know, anything out here that breaks, we try to do it on site, for the simple fact that we have to get permits, and if it's a skidder, we got to take tires off, and it's just a big hassle. So anything that we could possibly do out here, we try to do it in the woods.
Now that would have left a mark. I heard an old farmer a few years back saying there's nothing louder than a quiet tractor.
Oh. Pick it up a little bit.
After all the pins are in place and the head is secure, Justin begins the arduous process of reconnecting the hydraulic lines. Now, if you don't take the time to mark these lines as you take them off the first head, once you install them on the second head and they're not marked, life can quickly become very unbearable. Even if one line isn't connected to the right link, it can quickly become a safety issue for the tractor operator. With the smaller heads, Demetrio may have to make a few more cuts on larger trees, but that's the cost of doing business.
This head here is a bit smaller, but we're gonna have to make it work, because it's all we got. Well, now that that's done, maybe we can get some wood moved.
We all know that the waters from Jordan Lake can make life bad for Bobby and the crew. But believe it or not, there is a method behind the madness. The Army Corps of Engineers are responsible for dam operations, and their main goal is to minimize property damage downstream. Even though it could seem like a bad thing, it's really not. Historically, stakeholders along the river, such as landowners and private residences, had not been as prominent as they are now. Seems like now you can ride up and down the river and count 10 houses in a 2-mile stretch. And there are a lot of people down here that actually live on the river that accept that liability. But when the rains threaten, the dam is opened. 4 to 6 inches of rain fell this week in our area. And at one point, the dam was spilling up to 22,000 gallons per second. Now folks, I don't need to tell you that that's a lot of water. But it's important to release this water when the water management team downstream deems it necessary. There are several dynamics at play here. And when the water is released, Bobby and his crew has about a day or so to prepare. When the roads flood, the sad reality is the guys are out of work and the company ain't making a dime. Now I'm going to tell y'all what's the truth, this beats all. For about 2 days it's been raining, and the bad part about it is the rivers haven't had an opportunity to crest yet. And with the added rainfall, that's just taking misery and spreading it evenly. I tried to make it down the first road with my Land Rover, but it don't look like that's going to happen. Then some other guys on the tractor came by that does some duck hunting back in the back. It got kind of deep on them as well.
I mean, let me sit there for
Well, we're flooded out, so we got all the guys here at the shop, and we're just going to try to get some stuff cleaned up and organized here, which is definitely needs to be done. Well, the floodgates has opened up again on us, and we're going to have to move off the 7 Mile Road, and David's trying to find us somewhere to go right now.
Run for your life, boys, there's nothing left to do. Michael Dam is caving in and the water's coming through. River's been arising and the rain's still coming down. 14 days.
Well, here we are. David found us a little track. It's on the outskirts of Atkinson, and as you can see from the aerial footage, there's a little tram road that runs through it, and it's just a 50-acre tract of pine that's running against Collie Creek, and you know, it's just a tract of pine that the pine fellows couldn't get because it's always stayed wet. And it kind of worked out in our favor right now because we need somewhere to go. Well, we got Justin Smithrow here. The 24-inch head, the bearing locked up, well, it didn't lock up, but it's gone bad. It won't let the blade turn. So we're putting the 26-inch head back on it. And unfortunate with these heads, because it's got so many moving parts on it, there's about 11 or 12 hoses on it that you gotta disconnect and connect back right. And I'm just hoping that Justin remembers how he unhooked them, because we have done this on a loader one time and spent days trying to sort the hoses back out. I mean, it's amazing how many different combinations you could screw up with 11 or 12 hoses. But hopefully we got the head back fixed. We got a new arm on it, got a new slewing ring on it. We got the grease fittings back in it like it ought to be, got them locked, tighted in. And hopefully this head will be good to go ahead and finish wearing out this tractor.
I'm tired of these old empty pockets, tired of these old worn-out pair of shoes. Well, there's nothing in that Sunday suit coat jacket, nothing but a pocket full of blues.
Got a D-limber I had bought several years ago. Actually, we hadn't used it but one time prior to this time here. My brother's actually used it more than I have, and of course he sends it back to me all tore up, broke down. We get it back in there and we're using it because if you cut pine, you got to skin the limbs off flush because they're cutting 2x4s out of them. So anyway, we got it set up and it started messing up. The arms wouldn't open up. The alternator had quit charging. Justin got the alternator off, which he tested it and it wasn't working like it ought to. So I went ahead and got a new one, and we come out here and put it on there, and it's only charging like 12.2 or 3 volts, which ain't enough. And you can touch the post on the back of it, which energizes it, and it jump up to 13.6, 13.5. But then it's working fine now, and everything's working like it ought to. But it's just electricity is not my forte, and I gotta let somebody else do that. But it's working now, so that's all that counts.
What's going on out there? I know it's been a while since I checked in. I've been out of work I had a 3-month vacation with my shoulder surgery, but it came along pretty good. The doctor did a pretty good job. I'm in the physical therapy stage right now, basically trying to get my muscles built back up. So, I came back to work. I'm not able to throw straps, but the guys been looking out for me. They've been throwing the straps for me. Abraham, he's been looking out. Everybody's been pitching in. I really appreciate everybody out here. But it seems like I came back to work at the wrong time. I can't say the wrong time, but I come back and everything's flooded. I come back right before Christmas, and we was on the 7 Mile track over there, and it's like everything over there. It was like, even when it wasn't raining, it was flooding. I was like, what in the world? I can't even get a good weekend. I'm just getting back. But they got us over here in some pine. Well, it's a mix of pine and hardwood. Been getting some pretty good loads out of here. So, but it's a small track. But I hear they got another track for us after this, another track of pine. So hopefully, things will pick up for us here soon.
when we moved up here on this little 50-acre tract, we weren't going to bring it with one tractor because it's really not a big enough tract to have 2 buggy tractors on it. But anyway, we got our wires crossed that Daniel brought the D over here anyway, but thank God he did, because Darley's out there pulling and he hears, which Darley's got a good ear. I mean, that's the secret to keeping the same man on the same tractor every day, because he knows as soon as something don't sound right. And he's out there pulling wood, and he heard like not like a roaring. He said something didn't sound right. So he comes back up here to the deck to look at it, and we see oil pouring out of the front differential. Not oil, actually it's a spindle that's on the outside beside the tire. And Justin started checking it, and the bearings had gone bad in that, and best to seal up. But fortunate we had a spare one at the shop, so we went and picked that up and brought it out here, and of course we got that back fixed. So it's just been, the last few months has been trying. I mean, our production's been down, it's been super wet, and now my tractors, everything I got's got a lot of hours on it, so it's starting to break down on us, and it's keeping Justin wide open, trying to keep everything running, and I help where I can, but as the old man said, my climbing gear ain't as good as it used to be, but we got it back going, and everything seems to be running right now. We got one little pump we got to put on the D tractor that actually jacks the cab over. It started bypassing, and we couldn't get underneath it to fix a hose that had busted on it, so we get that put on there, and everything should be 100% then. I think I mentioned earlier about our skidders that's got something going on. If one breaks down, the other one gets mad and it breaks down too. Well, the spindle bearing started going bad in the E-tractor, so we're trying to get that fixed, which we had a spare one. Justin's working on that, and Darley's on the D-tractor, and he's out there pulling wood, and we are actually, Justin is actually putting the last 2 studs back in the wheels, bolting the tires back on it to be done with it, and Darley hollers on the radio and tells us that the tractor's busting a hose. It's a steering cylinder hose, and you can't get to it unless you tilt the cab over. Well, we tried to get the cab tilted over, and lo and behold, the cylinder that tilts the cab over is messed up. It's the package is gone in it. So we had to take the stomper, we had to pull the cab over, get the line fixed, and when we had the cab over, we took that opportunity to go ahead and wash the tractor out real good, clean it up. The midshap bearing was loose because we've been running in water over here on the 7 Mile road. Got that fixed, and trying to tilt the cab back over. Them cabs are super heavy, and we're trying to tilt the cab back over, and we can hear the little pump bypassing internally. So I went and picked one of those up today, and we get that little pump put on there, and hopefully that'll fix it, and it should be ready, because it makes you no more matter than when something's broke and you got to tilt the cab over, then you can't even get the cab over to work on it. But hopefully we got that fixed, and we'll see what happens.
This is Wayne South, little update today. We're on a little pine track here. Our big hardwood track got flooded out about 3 weeks ago. So we're about to get track here, and we got another small track to go to. Then say we got a big track to go to, so we're gonna wait and see how the weather do. If everything works out all right, we'll have a good year to be, I hope, and we'll keep you updated.
A major North Carolina industry is getting a lifeline from the federal government's $900 billion COVID relief measure. Now, On Your Side has been following the struggles that our state's loggers have faced since the start of the pandemic. Our Aaron Dean joins us live now with what loggers are saying about this COVID relief. Aaron.
Good morning, Julianne. And one timber company owner right here in the East tells me that he is hopeful to know that financial relief is on the way for an industry that he loves so much. Now, here in our state, logging generates $33.6 billion in North Carolina. It provides essential items we use every day for cleaning, writing, printing, and packaging, and plus much needed medical supplies. Bobby Goodson has been working through the pandemic, but says everyone involved in the timber industry is feeling COVID's impacts. Goodson is a local 4th-generation logger. He worked with members of Congress to make sure his industry was included in last month's relief bill.
We're meeting the need, and it's instant gratification because we're accomplishing something every day, and it's just something I love to do, and I want to keep doing it. But we got to make a living at it. I've got to be able to pay the people I owe. I mean, and that's the main thing. That's the reason I got involved.
The COVID relief measure includes $200 million for U.S. loggers. Their national advocacy group is now working with the Agriculture Department on how to get the money where it's needed. And Good Son's main message is that loggers are farmers, and he's glad to see that all types of farmers are getting the help that they need during this difficult time. Live in Greenville, I'm Aaron Dean, not on your side.
Well, it looks like he's through with this Corbett block. We had to come out of the river bottom. It was flooding and stayed flooded for a long time. So anyway, I had to put him on a pine block. But we're headed to a track in Columbus County. Hopefully by the time that's over with, we can get back on some hardwood. Maybe some of these roads and streams of water will drain off. So you got to do what you got to do.
Find me out on the mountain top where the cool breezes blow through the pine.
Yes, we do use moly-based grease. Now, there's a million different kind of greases out there for different things. But the bottom line is grease is no good if you don't use it. If you get a moly-based grease and you use it like you're supposed to use it, you won't have any trouble with your equipment. But if you don't use grease, it ain't going to help it. We do use Rotella tea. We've been using it 35 years, and believe it or not, I run it in everything that I've got. Now, you need to check your manufacturer specs, but I mean, I put it in everything I've got, everything from a Shelby Mustang, you know, to all the pickups and all the tractors, and I've never had any issues with it. But I ain't gonna tell you to put it in your car. You need to check your manufacturer specs and see what they say. Well, guys, this is our video. I hope you liked it. If you would, please hit that like, share, and keep sending the comments.
That Land Rover sound real generic. Hey, you better get something American made. That thing sounds generic. I swear I thought it was gonna fall apart. Pick it up a truck.
And we'd like to thank National Recording Artists Blue Highway for letting us use their music on our videos. We appreciate it. Now, if you like bluegrass music like I do, check the link below.